Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever we find you. Welcome to day 372 of Humanity Rising. Yes, it's me again, Leslie Southwick Trask, and I'm here as Jim, our man of all deities, is flying his way back to North America after being gone for a couple of weeks in Europe. And so, what we're doing today is wishing him safe travels as he wings his way back to us. You know, this is Black Friday. I don't know about you, but it's a very strange Black Friday in a world in which we've got so many other priorities than what kind of discount we're going to get for a Christmas present. The markets are usually very up on Black Friday, but today they're down, and the reason is because of the COVID mutation that has shown up in South Africa and is itself finding its way into other countries because we insist on traveling around this planet. We insist that we need to be in other places than the one in which we are indigenously placed. And so, because we insist to do that, we bring with us all kinds of different invisible elements into the places in which we travel. And so, it is today that we are reckoning that this little tiny virus is going to continue to present opportunities for us to evolve as humans. In terms of this day, 99 years ago was when the archaeologist Howard Carter and British Lord Carnarvon opened up the Tutankhamun, or the King Tut's tomb. And what we do know about when we falsely think that our human capacity is to find all things out for ourselves, they 7 years later died from what is now called the mummy's curse. I wonder if we had found that incredible find this time in this century, if we would have been as brazen as they were in that year, 99 years ago, to take and remove and in many ways decimate the sacred space. This is about sacred spaces that we live in and how we create the sacred spaces in which we find ourselves. Today is a day where we're celebrating the sacredness of the cosmic world in which we find ourselves. And I'm so delighted that this is going to be a power-packed program. In order to sort of weigh ourselves in, settle ourselves in, and understand the beauty of the day that we are in and the beauty that the cosmos always presents to us, should we be willing to say, hello, I am a cosmic being. I am living here on Earth, but my cosmology is mathematically all inside of me. We say this in silence. And I'm going to go into the meditation with a poem that our resident mystic, Kalen Rain, wrote for Thanksgiving. And he is I would call him, like he's the energetic scientist that we have on our staff. That is an amazing human of mythical type. And here it is. Tomorrow is today's dream, rising from creation, nourished by a mystery. Quantum vibrations communicate energy like an ancient dance. Maybe our own presence is here. We enter silence. We are one with this moment in meditation. Our path forward becomes clear. Wisdom flows through breath. Share a new sense of purpose, gratitude, and joy. Breathing is a miracle. Our soul work is calling us. Church is everywhere. Adopt rhythms of nature, clarity, and peace. So, in the silence of our heart meditation, may we breathe into that area of our body and know that it is connecting us with all others, with the cosmos, and with the stars that we are from. Let's take a minute just in the silence of that magnificence. A deep breath to welcome in this joyful moment. And I'm welcoming in Kala Perkins is now going to join us as she has convened an incredible panel around the cosmic ecology, the emergent audacity, how cosmos shapes the symphonies of life. And you may not know Kala. I've met Kala on a number of occasions in our after chat. And, you know, she is an intriguing human in this path of life. She lives in the intersection of science, philosophy, and culture, a master's in environmental science, in cosmic ecology, an MA in bioethics, and she is also a master's in divinity. You know, this is a woman who has traveled the world in her pursuit of knowing. And along the way, she has asked many questions and gathered much wisdom. And most of the wisdom that we tend to gather in life are the friends that we start to hang out with, the people that we find in our way. And she has gathered an incredible group of friends to join us today. So, Kala, come on in. And I'm just asking, there you go. Hi, Kala. You're such an incredible pathfinder and seeker in this world of cosmology. And I just want to say thank you for being here. And I now turn the program over to you.
Thank you so much. It's a delight to be here. It's wonderful to be able to share my own adventures and path with our precious Humanity Rising community. And I'm going to screen share here. Richard, do you have me for screen share?
You should be able to open it, Kala. There it is.
Okay, so we'll go over here and we will begin with our adventure. It's wonderful to be with all of you today. It is a great privilege. And I'm wondering where best to put this. We'll put this down here for the moment. There we go. All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So today we're going on a very intriguing adventure with the emergent audacity of how cosmos shapes the symphonies of life. And we begin with our exquisite hummingbird tasting the nectar of the galaxies from which we and all that is have emerged. So we'll move this just over here and begin our adventure. Where we're going is to the inextricably entangled life fabric which we are. From the great darkness emerges the light, the dynamics of the ancient exploded stars, which generate all of the stuff we're made of, out of which life emerges, the mother and the daughter cells flowing in the waters of life, in all the different elements of which we are made. So this is a kind of, Richard, I'm wondering if we can shift our little, all right, we'll put it here for now. I'll move it around as we go. All right, this is a kind of table of contents of our adventure. We have the cosmic microwave background here, which is the first flux of the acoustic energy from which our universe emerged. We have the movement of our solar system through the plane of the galaxy. In every point of the universe, countless galaxies, and our own feet mapped onto the pulsations of the universe itself, where the pulsars in our own galaxy are mapped. Each human body, just like the distribution of points of light in the universe, has its points of reference. We are the cosmos, uttering itself in all of its exquisite manifestations. So we begin with the cosmic microwave background. This acoustic flux we have mapped with countless telescopes, and it is the sound pattern, the energy out of which our universe, as we know it, has emerged structure from nothing. The fluctuation of the fields of energy are what has given rise to particles and particulate structures in our universe in all their different dimensions. From the Big Bang, we have the plasma energy, the fields, then the quark gluon plasma, the smallest particles, the strings, the dance of strings, and all of us are part of this fluid nature of the universe, the fluid substance that makes up all of the cosmos. Each and every one of us are filled with our expressions of that dynamic. The cosmic energy budget, we only know 5% or less of what really is. Most of it we're calling dark energy and dark matter. Dr. Mark Whittle has done an amazing research in understanding the sound waves of the universe. He's taken 100 million years of cosmic sound and put it into 10 seconds of a sound file that we're going to listen to. He says it's not quite a heavenly choir, but it has notes. It's a kind of chord. There are intervals, and it evolves from a major to a minor third. So let's jump out of here for a second and listen to this amazing field that we can follow along with here. Okay, can you see this now? I think I need to re-screen share, to redo screen share.
Yeah, you're not screen sharing, Kala.
All right, so this is an audacious expression of the first 100 million years of the universe in 10 seconds. And you can watch the color frequencies as they evolve. So we've just gone through sound from the first 100 million years of the universe in 10 seconds. I'll play it once more for you. You can now say you've participated in the origins of cosmos. All right, let us return here. So,
Kala, your sound went down. Check your audio setting.
it should be the same. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Great. Okay, so we are wondering, is there one universe or are there countless universes? Are there perhaps an infinity of other universes? Our ancient philosophies talk about that. The beginning of science explores infinity, and it's logically possible to explain the fine-tuning of how life itself arises. So how might all of these countless universes arise out of the flux of space-time itself? We're calling it eternal inflation in astrophysics and cosmology. The idea that just like our biology, the cells unfold in and nucleosynthesis unfolds in stars, biosynthesis in each of our cells. What if the universe unfolds like that? Universe after universe unfolding into countless many eternally inflating and expanding universes. One of our amazing cosmologists, Andrei Linde, who is actually a Stanford professor from Russia, has designed this graphic where each different possible set of physics is each point on this diagram, with many, many different possible cosmoses, related, interrelated, possibly energy or souls moving between them.
Sorry, Kala, we're not seeing your PowerPoint. We're still seeing the recording.
Ah, all right. Now are you seeing it?
Yes.
Ah, okay. So let's go back here to the countless infinities of universes and eternal inflation. Did you see this before?
No.
Okay, so this is the image, the idea of countless universes with eternal inflation emerging, just like biosynthesis or nucleosynthesis, this perpetuation of single cells or universes in what we're calling this process of eternal inflation, whereby we may get a countless number of universes. And this is Andre's graphic of the potentiality of many different types of physics giving rise to different universes and all the interrelations of these possible universes. So if we look at the large scale from the multiverse, our universe, then planets, we see the size, life, biosystems, particles, and then space-time itself with the flux of information at the quantum level. Dr. Martin Rees, an amazing cosmologist, Sir Martin Rees from Britain, started a recent presentation of his saying, by the way, a flea is massively more complex than a star. A star is fluctuating plasma, but a single living organism has an incredible diversity and complexity that even outshines the stars. Yet we wonder, are stars and galaxies living beings with planets, biological organisms as their own sentience? Vernadsky, a famous Russian scientist, came up with the term the biosphere, which gives rise to the noosphere, the realm of the mind, from life to consciousness. And it's life that terraforms a planet, giving it all of its structure and diversity. So we move on here. So if we have infinite universes, is each ontological being really a cosmic seed potential? This is spoken about in our ancient philosophies, that each of our organs is related in some way to the universe itself. All different types of systems, of organs, of beings can potentially evolve into seed universes, each and every one themselves. And I don't want you to miss this amazing creature, which was conjured somewhere by someone. So we're going from cosmos to consciousness in our dialogue. With this re-immersion in the astronomical scales, space itself, we experience a remedial dive into our own deeper origins. It's proposed that there's an ontological healing for our modern sense of alienation as we experience our integrity with the whole of cosmos and life. Physicist Andre Linde mentioned that the universe and the observer exist as a pair. We can't imagine a consistent theory of the universe without consciousness, because the universe we see and perceive is an expression of our own awareness. If it wasn't for what we have the capacity to perceive, we don't know what would exist or what we would see. John Wheeler, the famous physicists from the last century, said we're no longer satisfied with insights into particles or fields of force, geometry, or even space-time. Today, we demand of physics some understanding of existence itself. This frontier of research in cosmology, astronomy, education, and consciousness are the crest of this journey of inquiry. We're looking at infinities across scales, from the mind, the large scale structure of the universe, and these cells, which are actually cells from the heart, this neural network, and the mycelium in the earth, inside the earth, all these infinities pouring forth across multiple scales. How are they interrelated? So in a very recent study in 2020, a physicist and a neurosurgeon from Italy compared the structure between the large scale structure of the universe and the neuronal network of the human brain. And what they found is they are actually correlated. At the micro scale and the large scale, the distribution of matter in the cosmic web and in the brain reflect each other. Many of the connectons, the dynamic of connection in the brain, the connection of the light field of the universe, they are indeed correlated. This was their study published in Frontiers in Physics, not in a metaphysical journal. So as we look at these correlations across scale, we remember young Einstein. But when he was actually my grandmother's second cousin, which is a lot of fun, but we are all related. So little Einstein, when he was 5 years old, was given a compass. And as he wandered around his house, he found that compass needle moving around with nothing that he knew of to move it. And he understood there was a hidden force in space that was affecting all that moves and all that is. So just from Physics 101 here, we have the electromagnetic spectrum, just so that we know where we're getting the energy we're going to be looking at across scales in our universe. The frequencies from radio, microwave, infrared, visible, the little rainbow, how much we see, because that's where the sun puts out the majority of its information, ultraviolet, X-ray, and gamma ray. So we get our information from all these telescopes we have around the Earth and in space. And there's one of our little explorers up here. That was me up at Mauna Kea a couple months ago. These fantastic telescopes, all different nations have their telescopes placed on the summits around the Earth so that we can explore the cosmos. We have visible telescopes, we have radio telescopes in Chile, in New Mexico. We have countless, not quite countless, planetary telescopes, heliospheric telescopes, and those telescopes which are pointed back at the Earth, which give us the ability to calculate our weather and to do things like what we are doing today on Zoom, the Earth-based telescopes. So these are some of the different frequencies of our telescopes that are currently in space, from Hubble to gamma ray telescopes to infrared, ultraviolet telescopes, which are right now moving around our Earth. Our telescope in Chile, the ALMA, has found out already that at the earliest times of the universe, 13.6 billion years ago, there was structure in the galaxies that were forming. There was substance in the very earliest universe with 118 distant galaxies. Surprisingly, we thought it formed much later, but these telescopes are teaching us amazing things about our universe. So these are billions of galaxies in our local universe. These are the flows of the galaxies in our local universe. The Laniakea, the immense heaven, which was calculated in Hawaii by one of our wonderful astronomers. This is the plane of our Milky Way. Our galaxy is not larger, but this is our vantage point, and we are flowing at approximately 300,000 kilometers per second in the direction of the Virgo cluster across our local universe. So we have our multi-armed galaxy, very much like our Milky Way, like our multi-armed dancer in the cosmos, like Guan Yin or Avalokiteshvara. We are on the inner edge of our spiral arm, moving through our galaxy, our solar system. There are billions of galaxies, hundreds of billions of unique galaxies in our observable universe, each one different, and we believe a black hole lurking in the center of each one. We have these huge lobes of radio energy coming out from the galaxies where we've seen the energy of the black holes. Just like the heart, the arms emerge as the organism is forming in its earliest stages. The heart gives birth to the arms, the legs, the head. These galaxies give birth to blazing jets of energy throughout space. In our early Buddhist treatises, we find there are countless other worlds in space, like flaming, whirling lotuses or the gaping mouths of lions. So the Buddha, with his mind, could penetrate the universe like each of us is able to. But now we have these amazing telescopes that guide us on our journeys and make it easier for us to see things like the magnetic fields of galaxies, where new star formation is occurring in this incredible medley, this feast of information and energy that we can consciously participate in with our cosmic dancer, which is Banafshe, here in our blending between the universe and the human dance. We are in a new era measuring the magnetic fields of galaxies, and this energy which permeates the universe, it's not just happening at telescopes or out in space. It's flowing through our bodies with each breath we take, with each step we take, every moment with each heartbeat, the whole flux of the cosmos, all of this energy. We are this fluid energy. It moves through the moments of our beings incessantly. Every single point of space is saturated with the cosmic delight. Our multi-frequency galaxies give rise to the multi-frequency spectrum of our cultures and our life forms. We look toward the center of our galaxy. We see, just like the labyrinth of existence, dark energy, dark stuff that has the same spectrum as bacteria in some of the canals on our earth, and we wonder about the potentiality of other life in our universe. This is looking toward the center of our galaxy, the views that we have in various frequencies, X-ray, infrared, and ultraviolet. We know that our galaxy merged with another younger galaxy in its early age through the use of astroseismology and astrochemistry. We find these earlier stars near the edges of our galaxy, and we know that our galaxy itself is a product of a merger with another younger galaxy. As we look toward the center of our Milky Way, Sagittarius A, the archer, sending out the arrow to the center, and we see the flow of stars around the black hole in the center of our galaxy. The heartbeat of our galaxy, like the pulses of little heartbeats in space from ancient exploded stars, and Ma'at, or Shakti, whose heart is responsible for the blending of the energies of space to bringing life and keeping life in balance with the magnetic fields of our Earth. Galaxy M87, with these wonderful names that we give it, is a very special one. It has this huge jet coming out of the center, and we've studied it quite comprehensively to find out our first black hole 2 years ago that we have a picture of, literally from a telescope that was made of the telescopes all around our Earth. It has a 6.5 billion solar mass black hole in the center with these huge jets coming out of it that we have actually photographed. And we are mapping the magnetic field of the energy pouring out from the horizon field around this black hole. These are actual photographs with our multi-dimensional, multi-frequency telescope, Earth-sized telescope of this black hole. We wonder, what is the relation of the emergence of the smallest scale of psyche with these black holes, with the dynamics of high frequency energies in our universe. We don't know, but we can contemplate the potentiality of the relationship, because black holes are all over space. There is a whole field of magnetic energy that is emergent from these magnetic fields of energy of massive black holes all around our universe. We thought that all the information went into the black holes, but now we have ideas that maybe there's like a magnetic mirror field where the information pours back out into the universe through alchemical, chemical, and physics processes. We have the merger of black holes that we've calculated. These are artworks exploring the potentiality of these gravitational fields. And now we have actually heard with LIGO, a laser interferometry telescope, the blending, the merger of two black holes in space. It is like all the light of the Milky Way, 175 billion times at 0.2 seconds, this gravitational impulse of the merger of black holes that we measured with our laser interferometer gravitational wave observatory. And I'm going to go a little bit quickly here because I know we've started a little bit later and I don't want to keep you too long. But so some of these things we'll move through a little bit quickly, but I want to share with you, with our gamma ray telescope, we've taken the information at the highest frequencies and sonifying the data that we have from the universe. We're learning new information about the universe. It is a whole field itself. So some of our very clever astrophysicists have sonified the information that comes from the universe. We're learning and we're creating a new culture around the processes that our universe is expressing with sound of data. I just want you to hear the burst. Sonifying data has taught us many different things about the universe, and we can sonify it in any way we want. We can learn about the universe from any of our senses. Okay, and so of course they've chosen how to sonify it, and it's been sonified in many different ways with many different ideas and instruments. So let's move now to our solar system. We have lots of moons. We have more moons than we know of yet in our solar system. Most of us learned about this in school, but we have about more than 80 moons of Jupiter and Saturn, and we're still calculating more of them. Some of them are very fantastic, and we're finding that there may be life on other moons in our solar system. So we think of the Earth like this, sort of like a top whirling around, but the Earth and the Sun and the solar system are actually spinning through space in this amazing spiral geometry as the solar system moves around the center of our galaxy, and the galaxy moves approximately 210 kilometers per second through the universe, moving at 600 kilometers per second within the local group of galaxies. So we need to have our seat belts in our consciousness here, because we are dynamically spinning, moving through the universe, through the galaxy, through the solar system, in all these geometries that flow as well through our bodies incessantly. This is a cycle of the highest sunspot activity in ultraviolet light of our sun. And we see it moves every 11 years from the poles of the sun to the center, and then 11 years back. It's the heartbeat of our sun in all different frequencies, filling our solar system with its life force. We have amazing pictures of the sun. Sonifying the sun has become a wonderful field of research now, undertaken by various scientists. We know from heart maths research, heliobiology, and cosmobiology that there's correlation between the dynamics of the sun and our cultural dynamics. Many of these solar telescopes have given us these gorgeous images that are literally pictures of our sun and the solar flares. We are immersed in the solar wind. Stanford and Berkeley have wonderful resources on the sonification processes. And NASA, with all these images, said they're beautiful, but they're silent. So they went to this wonderful sonification specialist, Robert Alexander. And you can find, using the sun to make music, a YouTube video and some incredible work that they're now doing using the actual data that NASA is getting from the sun and sonifying our visual experience of it. So this is actually Venus, this little black dot here, Venus transiting the sun, not that long ago, about 12 years ago. And we have Venus, our goddess, and the sun and life in her heart. Venus makes an amazing, beautiful geometrical lotus, literally this Fibonacci series with the movement of the earth over 5 and 8 and 13 revolutions. This incredible lotus is actually the geometry that is created by the combined orbits of Earth and Venus. And in our philosophies, in our ancient metaphysics, we have the idea that Venus is like the soul of the Earth. And we don't know about that in science, but there are these ideas, and the geometry is actually what we have mapped. So our Earth's magnetic field is extremely complex. It's forged by the fluid around the inner core of our Earth. When Einstein first heard about it, he thought it's much too complicated for something so beautiful, but it is extremely complicated, and it's changing incessantly, the magnetic field around our Earth. It protects us from the flow of energy from the sun. It creates this really interesting flowing dynamic wall around the Earth. The aurora is formed at the poles as these magnetic particles from the sun flow in, and there is an anomaly, a hole in our magnetic field that is moving and changing. It's now in the south, it's moving north and east, and it affects our telescopes. So our moon, we have the supermoon and the micromoon when it's at the nearest and furthest point. We just had a full moon, the micromoon, when it was at apogee, the furthest point. In May, we had the perigee where it was at, our moon was at the closest point, and the blood moon, the red, is caused by our own atmosphere. So we're going through our solar system now. Jupiter is our largest planet, 1/10 the size of the sun. It has its own amazing magnetic field. Io, it's tiny, one of its tiny moons, has volcanoes up to 150 miles high, churning volcanoes one after another. And Europa has an icy crust that may have an ocean beneath it. There's a methane ocean and sea flowing through the moon of Saturn. These rings formed by the particles of maybe one moon that collided with another in its antiquity. Our starbirth nebulas with our dancing Persian deities, the goddesses, the stars giving rise to all of the stuff we are made of. It takes 3 or 4 generations of stars to create stuff as complex as the living organisms and ourselves on this planet. What is being born and what is birth? What is life? These are questions that we are asking still. And the answers to these gives rise to all the bioethics of how we treat life on this planet and the potential of how we encounter other life in the universe. We have our baby stars, the blue ones, the white middle-aged stars, and yellow stars, a little older middle-aged stars like our sun, and the Great Spirit giving birth through music to all the expressions of life that we know and don't yet know. Shiva Shakti, the dancers, all these little blobs here are cocoons of new birthing stars, new solar systems arising in the universe that we know. This is the Orion Nebula. All these little cocoons of newly forming baby stars and baby solar systems. Here also the Eagle Nebula. And we come to reflect that the Earth is giving rise to all these different sentient beings over its immersion for 4.5 billion years of its life. It's been immersed in all the data flowing from the universe and giving rise then to all the cultures, all the organisms, all the ecosystems that we know of in our world. The Crab Nebula, the first pulsing new birthing star, remnant of an exploded star that was recorded in 1054, first of all by the Chinese astronomers, this fluid flowing out from stars that have cooked up all the elements that we in the universe are made of, and then explode. The core collapses into these little pulsing heartbeats in space, and the outside becomes this fertile dynamic, like a forest of stuff from which new baby stars can be born. And as this dynamic beauty of supernova is filling space, our Earth is responding with all its creative expressions in ecosystems, in flowers, in beings, in different, all the diversity of the cultures of our planet, in response to all this dynamic energy of the universe, colliding galaxies that fill space, and all these birthing trees and ecosystems across our planet. All of the expressions of our Earth are the diversity of the universe taken, all of its energy, and rebirthed into all the amazing diversity of culture across scales that our Earth in its life force has the capability of emanating and in its emergence. So we have light bent by these huge galaxies in space, our cosmic ecology, the landscape of infinity. We are discerning new multiverses of relationships between cosmos, the earth, and life. And here this idea is that these little souls are looking out through the bending of space and time for who will be their mother in the distant future when they want to be born in some world somewhere. So we have new birthing baby stars, new babies in our world, the serpent of life, the rainbow serpent from Australia, and the seeds of life in our Aboriginal art and in our physics and our geometry, in our biology. New babies in the universe. We think maybe comets flowed into the early oceans and brought the seeds of life from space. We call this panspermia. It's one of the ideas about how life began on the earth, bringing those seeds of life. And we have all this diversity when galaxies collide, new birthing stars, and all these different dancers giving rise, each and every one, to their unique expressions of baby life in the universe and on our earth, in the dance of life. In ancient Ayurvedic science, we have the idea that from beyond the central spiritual sun of existence, the ray of the life force comes through the field of space and anchors in the zygote, the birthing organism at the beginning of life, and then cell division begins. If there's no soul that links to the early cell, why would a life form emerge? And at the cathedral, at Grace Cathedral, these rays, the ribbons from the top of the cathedral were placed as an art exhibit, and it reminded me of these rays of the life force extending from the infinite into our world to give birth and to be born. So there is water in space. Water itself is an amazing miracle. When oxygen and hydrogen combine, if they decombine, there's a great explosion. So it is amazing that water, which we find in the Orion Nebula and various places in space, is congealed on our Earth, the early water Earth, to give rise to the life as we know it. All these different systems over space, the exploded star, the colors are not real, but the geometry is real. These multi-frequency galaxies are Earth from space, the frog, which goes through the changing, the transmutation from the tadpole to the frog, all these dynamics of life. And this is, of course, our little frog prince. Our universe is filled with all these dynamics, and our Earth is giving rise to all these incredible diversities of species and ecosystems in response to this suffusion of information and data and fire pouring on it over its lifetime from the universe. These are birds. We don't really understand the physics of how these dances of energy that birds in their migrating patterns create, but they are like the patterns of the galaxies with their energy fields. We know that the smallest particles that spin in space give rise to all of the structure, our Earth. This is the South Pole, and a camera has been placed at the South Pole for 11 hours and given us this amazing image of ourselves spinning through space. From the Aboriginal, the song lines of they say that the song lines have given rise to all this structure in the early dynamics between the universe and the Earth, on the Earth. We have this in all of our ancient cultures, giving rise to the sacred lands and sacred spaces of our Earth. And this dynamic that happens in the universe, where the seed of the star in the supernova radiates out all this energy that is gathered over time, leaving the jewel in the center of the supernova. The same thing happens in our Brahmachandra chakra, where over countless lifetimes we're told that the virtues and experiences of our own lives then shatter the chalice, and the great moment of aloneness is there, where we know ourselves as the universe, and the seed, Om Mani Padme Hum, homage to the jewel in the lotus, where our own seed of immortality is forged as each of us becomes a cosmic seed. We're going from bioscience to cognition to culture. What is it that is cosmos? What is it that's thinking? And is cosmos a thought with our cultures, our languages, in this network of interrelated complexities? Other worlds are spoken of in many cultures. We wonder, are there other beings? We're seeking those other beings. Some people say they have seen the other beings, but we now have almost 4,500 other solar systems that we have found distributed in one area of our galaxy. We think there must be about 6 billion other Earth-like planets in our own Milky Way. These planets we've found by the last year. So Kepler is one of our space telescopes that has found most of these other exoplanets. And you can go to the Kepler a stellar choir and actually conduct the music of all of these stars in space. So we understand that sound gives rise to structure. Some of us in high school have worked with how sand, when we strum a plate or a chord, we create all of these amazing structures just by sound waves moving through sand. We wonder then, is there a chord, a special music giving rise to each diverse solar system? Why 8 planets or 6 planets or 12 planets distributed exactly as they are? We understand the physics, but we don't know why from these nebulas, these specific sound patterns of the specific distribution of planets emerge as we map our own understanding onto the universe. India gifted Lord Shiva, the dancing god, giving rise to all the structure in the universe, to CERN, where they're in Switzerland, where they're seeking to understand all these particles. And these tiny strings we're understanding are the building blocks of the universe. And Sakyamuni, in one of the Diamond Sutra, says there's really no such thing as the cosmos. Cosmos is just a word. The world is sound. Nada, meaning sound, Brahma, deity or the universe. These crystal geometries emerge from our universe, the Tsimtsum, the cosmic womb, the veils of light and sound, giving rise to, as each of these veils move, particles that then emerge into the structures of our universe. The Tao of supersymmetry in our most ancient philosophies, this what we're learning in our physics, and these understandings were there in our metaphysics, in our philosophies of the early scientists. So we're moving toward a new universal culture, composing the infinities of new culture at the convening of cosmos and the human heart and mind. We're helping people see themselves and reality in new ways, inspiring co-creativity through science and culture as we move through these immersions in infinity, instilling a sense of reverence for all life across scales. We have our musicians, Holst, the planet, Messiaen, the canyons to the stars. Messiaen heard the stars. You too can hear the stars. I've had those experiences when you're out in the vast amazing spaces far away from civilization as we know it. Your mind can penetrate the universe and listen to the resonant sounds of the cosmos. Terry Riley, Fiorella Terenzi, an astronomer, has created acoustic astronomy with radio energy. Where Mahler, with his 8th symphony, imagined that the whole universe begins to ring and resound, no longer with human voices, but with revolving planets and suns. Hasrat Inyar Khan, the Sufi musician, said, I had composed songs. I sang and played the veena. I arrived at a stage where I touched the music of the spheres. Then every soul became for me a musical life, a musical note. All life became music. Excuse me. Some of our, so Stephen Andrew Taylor composed this beautiful piece of music just as Carl Sagan passed away. And he thought about how all of these stars, living and dying, give rise to the substance for new life in the universe. And Viriditas, this reminding us of Hildegard von Bingen's, the greening of space itself, the greening of nature. Deep Fields, I want to play for you. The Deep Fields of the Universe, Eric Whitacre, working with NASA, and all the seeds of humans across the field of the earth created this beautiful piece of music. I'm going to jump ahead with some of these because I want our guests to be able to share their reflections, but a few more slides I want to share with you. So these are all the satellites we've put up, creating this cosmos of stuff around our Earth. We're wondering about the ethics of all of this. We're also wondering about all the space junk that we have put up that we haven't brought down yet. Russia just shattered an old satellite near the International Space Station, and all of the astronauts and 2 Russian cosmonauts on the space station had to go and take refuge in the small satellite that they would have used to leave if those bits of junk had hit the International Space Station. Luckily, they didn't, but we have laws with the United Nations how we can use space around our Earth, what is all right and what is not all right. And briefly, I'm sharing the Climate Music Project. If we continue, and we had a COP26 that we just went through, but if we continue the music that our Earth is actually creating over 25 years, this project shows, and then up to 2,300, the music becomes chaos with the stuff, the carbon dioxide that we're putting into space itself. So what is the climate of our heart? How are we treating our Earth and our other life forces? Draw down, we know, what are the ways, the paths that we can change what we're doing on Earth. We think of humans as so important on Earth. Most of the life of the Earth was water. Then we began to get plants and early mammals, the dinosaurs. 3 seconds ago in Earth time, humans arose. And what have we done in 4.5 billion years with the last 100 years with life on our Earth? We need to change so that Earth can utter and continue to express the dynamic beauty of the universe in all of its ecosystems, in all of its culture, and all of its emergent dynamics, in the multiverse of beauty and life forms that we are giving rise to. The socio-psychological impacts of our immersion in cosmos may be transforming who and what we see ourselves to be, how our egos interface with the life force, because there's so much more of life than we even yet know. How many matrices of thought and creativity and sentience exist in the artistry of the infinite, in other worlds that we even know that our creativity can explore? What infinities exist even beyond our imaginings? So we're just coming to the end here. If all of life is this resonant ocean of sound, what does it mean when any life form goes extinct? What is our responsibility to life itself and all these harmonics? What does it mean, this potential encounter of our own consciousness with cosmos? The Bodhisattva Maitreya says cosmos itself is this great heartbeat. At the base of the universe, the entire universe seeks the heart. Cosmos is seething with treasures for us as we expand our minds and our own heartbeats into the heartbeat of truth in the universe. Again, our dancer, Banafshe, spinning in the cosmos. So we are this living alchemy, electromagnetism, consciousness, gravity, infinity, the tendency of logic and intention to emerge the artistry choreographed in space, time, and eternity. It is infinitely possible for us to heal and restore the harmonic balance on our planet with all of life, because we are this infinity of life. So this is our final image as we conclude here with consciousness, our wisdom pouring through the infinity of space, giving rise to all of life. And I will take you very, very briefly here to the music of the spheres with deep field. Can you still see?
We can see you, Kala.
Can you see the image?
No.
Okay.
All right, so I need to go out of this. Make sure we're still sharing. Screen share. Go. I need my glasses. Go here to deep field. Now can you see?
Yes.
Right. We have
Yeah,
to,
we can see it now, Kala.
right, we have to be patient.
You own
and
a
let
timeshare that
this
you want to know how to
pass.
get rid of.
It's
But
the
here-
We can
nature-
hear it.
Okay, here we go. Apologies for the life of the internet. This is the Hubble Space Telescope and our Earth. All right, so that is Eric Whitaker's work with NASA, the deep field, the impossible magnitude of our universe. So we're going to come back here. I will stop my screen share.
You're on camera, Kala.
Okay, so here we are again, once again. Hello, everyone, our beautiful participants. I'm wanting to see you all now in gallery view. We have gone through the deep field of the universe. I don't know if Banafshe is still here. Her presence is still here. Peggy and Anne Banafshe, welcome back from our immersion. I want to open it for you to share anything you like. Banafshe, thank you for still being here. I know we have class very soon.
Kala, it's very, my voice has gone into a deep space. This is Peggy. My goodness, awestruck would be perhaps the clearest definition, but the capacity to speak is definitely gone under for a little while. But and the awe that you have brought to us, your own heart's awe and your own eyes' capacity to see, and your mind and heart's capacity to imagine and to study and to find and to discover and to learn and to want more understanding is so musical and so potent and so touching. What a gift on this day after giving thanks. What a gift you have given. And I'm sure there will be more to say and more to celebrate. Thank you will be the first part. And I'm trusting Anne and the others will have words coming quickly, or coming sometime. But anyway, just the impelling power that you have opened the door to.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you so much. I think it's, even when we speak and we think that this sound coming from us, what is this sound? What is this consciousness? What is the same thing the universe is uttering, and the universe uttering itself through us with each word, with our songs, with our breathing, with our heartbeats. Thank you.
Makes us more aware of those words and the places where the words come from. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Banafshe, if you want to share anything, because I know your time.
Kala, that was so amazing, really, really, truly amazing, like a symphony and like a dance. I feel like you unveiled for us so much of the mystery. And like Peggy said, I'm speechless, but I also have so many questions. But first of all, thank you so much. Such a feast for the eyes and the ears. I really felt like I was dancing as you were speaking, as you were gifting us with this symphony. So I would love to hear let's hear from Jean and from Anne, and then I'll ask a question or two if you have time.
Banafshe, just my thought came, if we had some of these images and you dancing in front of them on a stage.
Well, yeah.
Jean wants to share. Yes, Jean.
Yes, please. I feel this is one of the greatest gifts I have ever received. It proves that we are not simply the latest product of the metabolism of the galaxy, but that we are cosmic beings dressed in a biodegradable space-time suit, yet having the mind and the spirit to be able to be perhaps agents of this vision. I found this, frankly, more inspiring than all the professional inspirers who say, it's good to be on the earth, it's good to be alive, but you have given new life to life itself in what you have presented here. I wish that this could be put, and I hope it can be, put into every school, all prisons, every place where people gather in a state of unknowing. Because what you have done here, my friend, is you've given us the great gift of the sensibility for deep knowing, and knowing that we are part of this whole. and that we must do what we can to protect and to invigorate and access the spiritual cosmic knowledge that is there to recover what we have lost, discover what is yet to be found, and the love that moves the sun and all things. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your words. Thank you for your insight, all the work that you have done in this world on this parameter as well. Yes, I was inspired to this by understanding from the Cold War that we needed a new perspective of who and what we are. And I did a bit of teaching of it in the high schools. Anne, please.
Yes, well, Carla, I'm absolutely speechless with wonder, with tears, because what you've done, you've opened the whole universe or countless universes to us with all your wonderful imagery. And like Jean, I wish this could be shown to every child on the planet and every politician on the planet, so that somebody gets the point of what we are, that we are cosmic beings, and that we are in touch. And as you say, the universe is discovering itself through us and through all the kind of things that you're presenting. I just think it was absolutely marvelous. And this is truly what the dream of the cosmos is, that we should understand. And you have shown us what we can understand and how we can understand. I think you need to go in doing it again in maybe 12 different sessions. So it's divided up so we can really assimilate as you go along. But that doesn't matter. I mean, you've given us the vision, and this is the most important thing. I'm full of wonder at the magic of your life and also the breadth of your imagination, which obviously has been nourished from childhood, and you've brought it forth now in this marvelous lotus, this gift of cosmic, I don't know what to say, just cosmic beingness. Anyway, thank you so much. I'm immensely, immensely grateful, because you really, for me, you've opened the door that I've been knocking on for 50 years.
And when I first came back to the States and read your work, part of it, The Dream of the Cosmos, I was totally just filled with enthusiasm and wonder that someone had written these things. And so I'm feeling so deeply kindred to you in spirit. And I have ever since I started reading your material, which was only about, I came back in 2006 after 20 years, 10 years in Asia, 10 years in Australia, where I studied all these different things and was just so awestruck and grateful for the work that you've done as well. And I have asked Jim, I mentioned to him, I would love to do a course, Cosmic Ecology with Ubiquity. He had mentioned, he said, let's do this first. So he will have to watch it and be inspired as well. And you can mention to him also, I would love to do a course with Ubiquity. That would be wonderful. There's much more to share.
But Carla, it's got to go out into the world beyond Ubiquity as soon as possible. There's an urgency. It really is an urgency about this, because souls are absolutely starving for this material. And if they starve too much, they'll die. So it's important to get it out. I don't know whether you have connections with television or connections with NASA. I mean, if NASA could give a course, that would be fantastic.
What's so interesting is that we've been given the universe as making us insignificant. And in many of these things, because we're so tiny, but it negates the fact that we're perceiving it.
Exactly. Yes. Well, you've got it. You've understood. And this is amazing and wonderful. But it needs to be communicated to as many people as possible. And I would love, where could my grandson watch this, for instance? How could he see it? It would be absolutely amazing for him. Because this sort of thing has never entered into anybody's consciousness except yours and a few others on the planet. So it's very important what you've done, isn't it, Jean?
You're muted, Jane. Jane, you're muted.
Indeed, it is. It is one of the greatest blessings given to the people of Earth on this time. That is no exaggeration. This can really not just turn the page of history and herstory, it can open up a profoundly new relationship between self and all others. I mean, politics can't do it, local education can't do it, all the usual things, television and Mr. Bezos can't do it. But what you have brought here is, I think, in my 84 years, is the greatest gift I have ever seen to Earth and people of this time.
I agree, absolutely. I don't think you may not know what you've done. Sometimes it's difficult to know, but please reflect on how to get this out more urgently.
Anyone is welcome to contact me who has those contacts, who knows, who works in these fields. I'm delighted to share it. Beyond when I was in Australia, where I learned much of what I have studied, I would go to the schools, school after school after school, and share it. Here, I've done other things, but I know it needs to be there. So if anyone is welcome to be in touch with me. I know Banafshe had a question to ask, but I'm so grateful for your reflections, Jean and Peggy. It inspires me, and yes, I would love for it to be more widely shared.
Yes, please. More widely shared. Please, please, please.
Banafshe, you have gotten me here.
And I'm so happy. I'm so delighted. What an amazing gift you give to all of us, Kala. And I'm so exuberant that others got to see your brilliant work. I have so many questions, but one important one that you touched upon about the sound that the earth is, the music of the earth, and how it's degrading into chaos. I feel like you talked about the carbon emissions emitting the sound, but what about also the sound pollution itself, the sound from all our machinery, which I personally suffer from hearing all the time in big cities and also out in nature, the sound of our machinery. Can you make the noise from them really? Can you comment on that? How are we contributing to the cosmic symphony?
Right. All of us can reflect on that, I think, in many our personal experiences and what we're seeing. And certainly that is Earth at every level, from its crust to each ecosystem, each species, there is its own innate sound, the sound of nature, the whole its resonance with the universe, how it creates all these ecosystems. And what we're doing is chaos. We are definitely creating chaos, even and that particular project, the Climate Music Project, is a project of a specific group that is just working with the carbon dioxide dynamics. So they have their own process. But what you're speaking about is something much vaster and much wider. In terms of astronomy, now the satellites that we're sending up, the commercial ones, are beginning to block our ability to do astronomy because they're creating this resonance in the atmosphere around us. What does it mean that all of this space junk is floating around our planet as we're breathing with the universe? These things we're exploring, thinking about it. How do we get these things down? There are many questions. I was wondering, why don't we just get rid of it? And then one very intelligent scientist told me they're worried that if people can take down the junk, they'll take down our satellites. So there's political stuff involved in it. It's really a crazy world we're in. And how do we, and then to be able to do radio astronomy, it has to be radio quiet. If you have cell phones around it, the telescope is shifted. It's like all of this information, all of our cell phones, our Zoom that we're doing now. We are doing technological telepathy here, sitting here in our worlds, which is beautiful. But the mind and the heart and the being, the organism, these are projections of our own capacities, and all of in the future, hopefully, our humanity is going to understand what are all these problems that we're creating with all these sound, with the energy, with the chemical pollutions. The ships, you're in LA, down the ships at Long Beach used to just sit for a week with the whole ship still putting out gasoline and leave it on for a week. And all of these communities were getting cancers and leukemias and and now it's become illegal for them to do that. They have to turn the ship off so they don't pollute the sound and the gasoline and the energy, all of that. So it's a whole, you opened a can of worms, to say the least.
Humanity has opened the can of worms.
Yes, forgive the analogy, but humanity, yes. Yeah, we need wisdom. We have all this knowledge and we need wisdom desperately for how we live.
Thank you, Paula.
Thank you.
What a gift. Absolutely, Kala. And on behalf of Ubiquity University, without question, you're welcome to join us and bring your wisdom and your gifts through Ubiquity. I also want to underscore what others have said, is that this needs to be in schools and in other places where we can reach into particularly our Gen Z. And I just want to comment that the work that I've been doing, I'm an anthropologist, and the work that I've been doing is that Gen Z is actually downloading what you have shared today. They're downloading in real time. And because the ego is struggling against this cosmic download, they're deemed diagnosed with schizophrenia and other mental health illnesses because our systems do not understand what they're downloading. And so they're living in the fight of the egoic world in which they live, the fear and anxiety that's brought on by the climate shifting. And at the same time, they're downloading all the imagery that you showed have been seen in their downloads. And so we are ready to birth it, but those through whom it's being birthed are living in a very challenging, chaotic time. And I'm wondering if anyone on the panel has any ideas in terms of how are we to hold sacred what they're bringing in the reality of the third dimension, the reality of broken systems, the reality of the technological landscape. What is your saged advice as to how we hold these young warriors who are really suffering?
They need the understanding of the larger integrity that holds the universe, that holds them in the universe, in their evolution. They need to understand the amazingness of what they are already. They're being told they are the price of their car, the price of their home, how savvy they are. They are not. They are amazing. When I go into the schools, I would tell the kids, did you eat anything today? How incredible. The whole history of the universe is digesting your food, what goes where, in which cell, in which part of your brain, so that you can think, did you eat a banana? Did you make sure some potassium went to your nerve cells in your brain?
They do know, though. I want to just say this. They do know that. They know all of this. It's not that they lack the knowing. It's that the systems that they navigate through, the mental health systems, the penal systems, all of those systems. So it's not that they don't understand. We don't understand them. The systems don't understand them. The education system doesn't understand them. So they do know. I mean, I guess that's what I'm saying, is that they are in this knowing. And yet the world in which they're navigating can't get it. And so they're deemed a certain diagnosis. So they're deemed a certain type of label in terms of what they are holding. And so I guess I'm just wondering in how you would suggest we help them, support them, and it's not them that don't know, it's us.
I was in neuroscience at Columbia University, Teachers College, and our professor came in after we'd seen the product of the medications and said, well, if this center doesn't work, we add these chemicals. It does knock out that center in the brain, but we're trying to figure out what we're doing. This was a professor of neuroscience at Columbia some years ago. The first thing I did was, oh my God. And I went into peace and conflict education, where we had the first program at Columbia at the time, to teach kids how to get along with themselves and each other, so they never fell into the hands of the neuroscientists putting chemicals into their brains. Now, neuroscience is teaching kids mindfulness. They're teaching people that mindfulness is the best therapy for the brain. That is where we need to go, that people need to tune into their own harmonic. The kids, there are all these groups, I Be Me, mindfulness for teens, even the little children are getting social and emotional learning. We need more of this in the schools. Teachers who understand it. Teachers need to be trained. That's so important. Social and emotional learning. One teacher said to me, fourth grade class, her kids came running in from after recess, and a little girl said they were supposed to do mathematics. The little girl said, teacher, we don't need mathematics. We had a terrible recess. We need circle gathering now. The kids need to know how to handle their own being and the society, and they need to get it from preschool.
It's you're talking to the converted. This is absolutely real. I'm just wondering if there's any of the other panelists have any ideas in terms of those that are deemed to be having episodes when in fact they're downloading. Yes, Anne.
Well, speaking as a psychotherapist, psychotherapy is a disastrous zone because psychotherapists don't know enough to help these children.
Exactly.
Psychiatrists, it's disaster with psychiatrists because they come in immediately with drugs, and so do psychotherapists, and so do doctors. So I've seen that in England, they're trying to reduce the amount of antidepressants that are being taken or doled out, really. I think it's the image that heals. The image goes to the right hemisphere, not the left hemisphere. And we're stuck in the left hemisphere, as Ian McGilchrist has said over and over again. He's just written a huge 2,000-page book on it. We have to get out of the left hemisphere. And if children could have their right hemisphere opened through art, through music, through poetry, through dancing, this would help. But there's no time. We have to hurry up. And we have to get the imagery out. And that's why I think Carla's presentation is so important. I just can't stress this. I'm in tears of anxiety, how to get this out to the world, really, who is starving for it. Because we've been starved for 4,000 years, because the cosmology has been all wrong for 4,000 years. So how do we get back to the real cosmology, perhaps of Pythagoras, of Copernicus, of the great geniuses, and you're a genius, without a doubt, to have done this. So I say it's education, but it's education through images that's the most important thing, so that the right brain is re-engaged and reopened, having been closed for centuries.
Powerful. Any other thoughts before we come to a close on this wonderful day of gathering?
Yes, please. Yes, thank you. And Leslie, thank you for standing so potently on behalf of the young ones. That's what us old ones need to gather in a mental, heart, image-filled, rich, artistically enhanced field, just to create a field around each of them, the way you're doing, so that they are held as safely as possible and loved as deeply as possible and given the strength to prevail. I think they will. I think that what Kala has shown us is a universe that will prevail over time. And who knows, but they are the hope, and we old ones can surround them mentally and with our hearts, with courage and imagery, as Anne says. I'm just repeating myself, I'm sorry, but I'm so grateful for what you're doing, and they will be all right. They will find their way, and the universe will find its way into them, for it is doing that, just as you said. But thank you for the work you're doing with them and for the hope you bring to them. But my own sense is, please let us just gather as human beings, loving the next generations, blessing them with the way they talk in the heart math. What are we feeding the field? And so we are feeding the field around each of these youthful ones who know the universe. We're adding to their field of safety and acclamation, and knowing they will be well. Even this blessed, gorgeous earth, we will hold it and ask the ancestors to help us hold on. There's a beautiful song, I think, from the civil rights thing. Keep your eye on the prize and hold on. So thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you, Kala, for the work you're doing. Thank you for all the comments that people have given. And thank you, Anne, of course. And thank you, Jean, and thank you, Banashe, and thank you, Leslie, for this beautiful work. Hold on.
Hold on. Jean, any last words? By the way, I just want to, Peggy, I was weeping while you spoke, because your heart in saying the hold, I just went right into that. And I'm sorry to interrupt, Jean. I just wanted to say, oh, I was feeling us holding, and that felt like relief for this moment. So thank you. Sorry, Jean.
I think so much has been said, and we are all in a state of wonder and astonishment at what Kala has given us. It reminds me also of a poem which begins, "The human heart can go to the lengths of God." And I think this is one of the things that we've seen, the lengths of God. Dark and cold we may be, but this is no winter now. The frozen misery of centuries cracks, breaks, begins to move. The thunder is the thunder of the flood, the upstart spring. Thank God our time is now, when wrong comes up to meet us everywhere, never to leave us till we take the longest stride of soul folk ever took. Affairs are now soul-sized. The enterprise is exploration into God. What are we making for? It takes so many thousand years to wake. But will you wake? For pity's sake. It's from Christopher Fry, The Sleep of Prisoners. And what we have been so gifted with in the work that you have presented, and those enormous vision that you have given us, Kala, is the fact of one of the most potent awakening of awakenings that I have ever seen. And yes, it needs to go out everywhere, every how. We all have a few ideas. Let's get in touch with our beloved Kala and see what is the great string of personal planets that can come together into a new galaxy of creation and recreation.
Please do. I would love to share more. I think perhaps a movie we can create as well with Anne, the visions that she has with these things, something we can do that will reach humanity, that will be like a nectar, that will be like an amrit for them to drink, made of these beautiful, beautiful ideas, the dream, the waking of the cosmos in each of us, in our hearts. Please get in touch, please do.
So you are now out there in the world, Kala. The work has now been born into this world, and the sacred feminine is what has brought this to us. And so I want to honor that the being of you who has birthed this into this place as that sacred feminine. And I believe that once we have opened the field knows how to connect us. So if we believe in what we see, if we truly believe that the field once open, when connection is understood, then it will find itself to you and to us. And so I trust in this magnificent universe, this cosmology that you've given us, the trust that it will find its way for its connection to where it needs to go next. And we are in touch through our Global Regeneration Corps with those youth in Sri Lanka and in other educational areas. So we have lots of other ways we can share what you're doing. And the we is all of us. So I know where I can play with you, but I also know that each of one member of this panel, Peggy and Anne and Jean, also know we are networks of networks of networks. Let us dance. Let us dance like the cosmos is in us to dance.
Leslie, pull me in. I would love to give the presentation for the children in Sri Lanka. I took it when I was in Nepal for the nuns. We had a gathering of Buddhist nuns from all over the world and was showing it to nuns who didn't know English with the images of the Hubble Space Telescope many years ago in Lumbini, the birthplace of the Buddha. And they were totally amazed with it. So yeah, from Thailand.
Well, I think that the beauty of what you've done is that it's, and as Peggy just really illustrated, and Jean and Anne, it's the imagery. It defies language. The language is sound, the sound of the universe. It is universal. So we don't have to worry about borders, about language, about our ethnicity of culture. We are, as you said, it's the culture of the cosmos, which is universal. So I believe that what you have birthed has its own creation story. And so I think what we're doing is saying, it is here, it is now, it is ready. We're ready. So I can't thank you enough, Kala, for this amazing lifetime of work. I mean, a lifetime of work that you have danced and woven and integrated and synthesized, but you held it in the creation of the womb and you birthed it in this moment. And so deep gratitude to you. And I want to just underline that the after chat is, I'm sure, waiting to have a conversation further with you. There have been some questions as to whether or not your slides would be available on our Ubiverse. These are things that we can talk about. We are ready to be whatever we can be in bringing this into the world, Kala. It is you who did the hard work. Now our work is easy.
Thank you.
So deep thanks to you, Kala, Jean, for being here, Peggy, and I hope you had a great birthday yesterday, and to all of you out there that have had the most magnificent experience over this last period of 90 minutes as we danced into ourselves. We danced in ourselves as we danced on the outside. So amazing work. And as I wrap this to a close, I just want to remind us that we still walk on 2 feet. We still live on this planet Earth. We still have the human experience. And with our global regeneration, we know that how we walk on this earth needs to be informed as much as Kala did today by other practices that are helping us in this climate sphere that we're in. And so on Monday, Rob Hopkins, who is the well-known leader of the transition movement, will be with us as we learn some of the planetary ways, in this planet's ways, of how we transition our evolving economies and our evolving communities. Having said that, I will think and listen into that conversation with a different intelligence, thanks to you, Kala.
I just want to say I'm wanting to publish the material, and I'm working on a book. So that's the stage it's in. If anyone has ideas about publishing, things like that, they're welcome also to get in touch with me.
Well, watch out for that email of yours, Kala, because it's just going to get full. So anyway, blessings to all. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and may we dance in the cosmos as we've danced today. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Carla.
Thank you all for being here.
Keep singing. Keep singing.